All right, so Manchester United, they just hit the reset button again, huh?
Seems like it. Yeah. Another manager out the door.
So goodbye, Eric Ten Hag. And hello to, well, a whole lot of questions, I guess.
Yeah, for a club that's been, I mean, let's face it, they've been struggling to find their footing for what feels like forever now.
A decade, at least.
This feels different, though, don't you think?
It does. It feels like more than just another coaching change.
It's like they've lost their identity.
Their swagger.
Exactly. The kind of aura that, used to make opponents tremble.
So let's meet the man tasked with bringing that swagger back.
Ruben Amorim.
Okay, Ruben Amorim.
So he's 39 years old.
Yeah.
Youngest manager in the Premier League.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And he's already making waves. I mean,
Yeah.
he took Sporting Lisbon.
Sporting Lisbon, okay.
Yeah, from underdogs to champions, won their first league title in almost 2 decades.
That's impressive.
And his win percentage.
Yeah, what is it?
A staggering 86% in his last 57 league games.
Okay, so we're not talking about some fluke.
No. Not luck. That's a statement.
Right, so we're talking about a proven winner, but...
There's always a but, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's known for his tactical approach, right? Specifically his love for...
The 3-at-the-back system.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I mean, some people are thinking, isn't that a bit risky at United?
Risky is one word for it.
And the pundits, especially that lively bunch over at Sky Sports,
They're having a field day.
they're debating whether the current squad can even pull it off.
Well, that's the thing. The 3-at-the-back, it requires a very specific type of player.
Like what?
Well, you need defenders who are comfortable on the ball.
Yeah.
You need wingbacks who can just bomb up and down the pitch.
Yeah.
And you need forwards who can press high and just create havoc.
Okay, so where does that leave Manchester United?
That's the million-dollar question.
Do they have the personnel to fit this mold?
Or is Amorim going to have to just rebuild the team from scratch?
Then that's what has everyone buzzing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
It's not just a new manager.
No.
Oh.
It's potentially a whole new philosophy.
All right, but before we get lost in formations and tactics,
Right. Let's back up a bit.
let's talk about the decade of disappointment.
Manchester United's decade of disappointment. 5 permanent managers in 10 years. A revolving door of talent.
And a staggering
$1.8 billion.
billion pounds spent on players.
So the question is,
Why have so many talented players failed to shine at Old Trafford?
I mean, is it bad recruitment? Lack of leadership?
A culture of complacency?
The Sky Sports panel? They didn't hold back. They were calling the club a graveyard for talents.
Yeah, bit dramatic, but...
But is there some truth to it? I mean, you look at players who've thrived elsewhere.
Yeah.
And then they come to United and it's like they fade away.
It's like the weight of the shirt. The pressure of the history becomes a burden.
So how does Amorim navigate this?
That's what everyone wants to know.
How does he change the narrative, shift the mentality?
Because let's be honest, the last thing this club needs is another quick fix. Long-term vision, a cultural reset. And that's why I think his contract length is such a hot topic.
2.5 years.
Some see it as a vote of confidence.
Giving him time to implement his vision?
Right. But others see it as the club.
Hedging their bets?
Yeah.
Not fully committing to the rebuild.
The Sky Sports panel was especially fired up about this. I mean, some were arguing that Amorim needs time.
Time to assess the squad. Figure out who's on board with his philosophy.
Right. Who needs to be shown the door?
But then you had others, like Gary Neville, saying, hold your horses, don't let him sign anyone in January.
Wow, really?
Yeah, let's see what these current players can do when they're given clear direction.
Accountability.
Exactly. It's almost like a trial by fire.
A chance for them to prove they belong at a club of this stature. So we've got young, ambitious manager
with a unique tactical vision.
Walking into a club that's been drowning in a sea of underachievement.
And everyone,
from the pundits to the fans,
on the edge of their seats, wondering, can he pull it off?
It's a gamble.
For sure. There's a sense of excitement in the air.
Maybe, just maybe.
Amorim is the breath of fresh air that Manchester United needs.
Okay, so let's delve a bit deeper into this trial by fire that Gary Neville mentioned.
Right.
What exactly are the challenges that Amorim faces as he steps onto that Old Trafford pitch?
Where one of the first things he needs to address is this apparent lack of hunger, lack of passion that's plagued the team for years.
Yeah, we've heard it from countless commentators, players not running enough, not showing enough desire.
And for a club like Manchester United,
that's unacceptable.
Completely unacceptable.
I mean, It's like they've forgotten what it means to wear that iconic red shirt, you know?
Right. It's not just about individual talent. It's about a collective mentality.
Yeah, it's about fighting for every inch of the pitch, playing with a sense of purpose and urgency. And I think Sky Sports brought up a stat that really hit home.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
In Manchester United, they're actually in the negative for goals scored this season.
Seriously.
Which is unheard of for a club of their stature.
Yeah, I mean, that points to a deeper issue, doesn't it?
I think
It's not just about the talent on the pitch. It's about the mentality, the hunger.
And the pundits, they were cautiously optimistic, I guess you could say, about Marin's appointment.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They acknowledged his impressive win percentage.
Yeah.
But they also pointed out that the Portuguese league,
Right.
it's a different beast.
Compared to
The Premier League.
the Premier League.
Much faster,
Mm.
more physical,
Mm.
more tactically demanding.
So that's why this appointment is so intriguing.
It's a gamble, for sure.
But it's a gamble that could pay off big time,
Absolutely.
especially when you consider that, the tried and tested approach.
Right, the big names.
It hasn't worked for them.
Not all.
They've brought in experienced managers
Yeah.
with big reputations, and it just hasn't clicked.
Nope.
So maybe what they need is someone like Amorim,
A fresh perspective.
someone who isn't afraid to shake things up.
And he comes in with a clean slate, no baggage, no pre-existing relationships, so he can assess the squad objectively,
Make the tough
to
decision.
build his team his way.
Frank Lampard, he made a great point about this. He was talking about the need for a clean bill of health.
Oh, yeah. Literally and figuratively.
Yeah. There's a sense that the club needs to cleanse itself of this negativity that's been lingering for years.
And part of that cleansing process,
What's that?
it involves identifying the players who are truly committed,
To this new era.
who's ready to buy into Amorim's vision, and who's just coasting on reputation.
The Sky Sports panel was pretty ruthless about this. They were saying that there are players in that squad who are more concerned with their Instagram followers than with winning trophies.
Ouch.
Yeah, and that's where Gary Neville's point about not letting Amorim sign any new players in January becomes really interesting.
It's like he's saying, let's see who steps up, who's willing to fight for their place.
It's a high-stakes audition.
It is.
And it's not just about physical effort, it's about mental toughness. It's about having the resilience to bounce back from setbacks.
Remember that collapse against opponent X?
Oh, don't remind me.
It was like the entire team just crumbled under pressure.
Yeah, it's like they've developed this underdog mentality, even though
They're historically one of the biggest clubs in the world.
it doesn't make sense.
It really doesn't. And that's a mindset that Amorim needs to change.
He does. He needs to instill a belief in these players, that they can compete with the best,
Right.
that they can dominate games.
That they can wear that Manchester United badge with pride.
Now, the pundits, they drew some interesting comparisons to other successful rebuilds.
Like Jurgen Klopp's transformation of Liverpool.
Yeah, but they also cautioned that, those kinds of turnarounds, they don't happen overnight.
No, it takes time to build a winning culture,
Yeah.
to develop a clear identity.
And that's why the length of Amorim's contract is such a point of contention.
2.5 years.
It's not really enough time.
To overhaul the squad, implement his tactical system, and instill a winning mentality.
It's a valid question.
It is.
And it raises a bigger issue. Does the club truly believe in him, or are they setting him up to fail?
That's a bit cynical, but
But I get it.
I do too. There's this sense that Manchester United has become a revolving door for managers.
It's like they're looking for a quick fix instead of committing to a long-term plan.
And that lack of stability.
It's got to be affecting the players. It's hard to build any kind of consistency when you've got a new boss every couple of years.
Right. The pundits made a really interesting point about this.
Mm.
They were talking about the need for alignment
The alignment
between the players and the club's hierarchy. Everyone needs to be pulling in the same direction if they want to achieve success.
Yeah. It's like everyone's pulling a different rope and going in different directions.
Exactly. No wonder they're all tangled up in a mess.
Yeah.
You need that unified vision.
Right. That big picture thinking.
Yeah. It's easy to get caught up in all the day-to-day drama.
The transfer rumors, the social media frenzy.
Right. But what you really need is a clear strategy.
A shared understanding.
Yeah, of what the club stands for and where it wants to go.
So you're saying it's not just about Amorim. It's about the entire organization getting its act together.
Exactly. And that's what we'll be watching for.
What's that?
Can Amorim not only win games, but also create a culture of excellence that permeates the entire club?
Can he restore that sense of identity, that swagger that made Manchester United one of the most feared teams in the world?
It's a tall order.
No doubt. But it's not impossible, is it? I mean, look at Arteta.
At Arsenal.
Yeah, they were in a similar position not too long ago. I mean, a bit lost.
Adrift.
And now,
Genuine title contenders.
it's incredible.
It is. It's a great example of how a manager, with the right
He's
support,
got a clear vision.
can transform a club's fortunes.
So what does this all mean for the listener at home,
Yeah.
the diehard Manchester United fan?
The one who's been on a roller coaster of emotions these past few years.
Hope, despair, frustration.
All 9 yards.
Yeah. What does it mean for them?
I think it means that this is a time for cautious optimism.
Cautious optimism.
Amorim's appointment, I
Yeah.
mean, it brings a sense of excitement.
Possibility.
But it's important to manage expectations.
Yeah.
This isn't a quick fix. This is a journey.
A journey back to the top.
But let's hope so.
It's going to be a bumpy ride, though, isn't it?
It will be. There will be setbacks. There will be challenges.
Yeah.
The key is to stay patient. Stay focused.
And believe. Believe that.
Amorim, with the support of the players and the club.
He can steer the ship back on course.
Let's hope so.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have, from tactics to psychology.
The challenges of rebuilding a winning mentality.
It's a lot.
But I want to leave you with one final thought. The Sky Sports panel. They kept coming back to this idea, a lost identity.
They were really hung up on that, weren't they?
Yeah, and I think it's a powerful point. If you were in Amorim's shoes, what would be the first steps you'd take to redefine what it means to play for Manchester United?
The non-negotiables, the core values, what would they be?
Something to ponder, isn't it?
It is.
Will Amorim be the one to finally turn things around at Old Trafford?
Only time will tell.
But one thing's for sure. This is a story you won't want to miss. So keep your eyes on that pitch. And we'll be back soon with another deep dive, dissecting all the latest developments in the world of football.
Until then, keep diving deep.